Okay, it is the last day of October, and I have a lot I have to get done, including washing this truck before I bring it anywhere. Because you can't really see out the windshield so easily. You can see I have a full bale loader of bales there, but I am not going to worry about that. I have one more bale. Well, I have more than one bale, but I have one bale that is on the field. So I'm just going to grab that with the bale spikes on the Kubota. And yes, it's still dark and will be pretty dark for another 2 hours. But I don't really have that much time. I want to get as much done on these fields so that I have wheat in all of them, in all of it. I'm not going to worry about putting manure down. It doesn't take that long, but I don't have enough time for something that I can make up for in other ways. It should work. Maybe. Hopefully it doesn't bounce off. Because I definitely did not grab it the right way. But I'm just going to put this over by my belts and silos. That way it will be out of the way and I can get field work done. I will be using hired workers. If I had known quite how much I was going to get from corn stalks, I would have had field 9 already done using hired workers. But I definitely did not realize quite how much I would get. I guess I should have realized it with how quickly the forage wagon was filling up. And even without that, once I switched to doing bales, I would have still been able to get field 9 done while I dealt with bales. So I'm going to get the plow. I'll definitely be able to get all of field 9 plowed. And we'll see how much of field 16 I can get plowed. Getting the crop in will be more important. But I should be able to get some of it done. So I actually like plowing, and hardly ever, especially with smaller plows, do I use VCA, GPS, whatever you wanna. It's the GPS that comes with the VCA, not the GPS mod. But because smaller plows, you can use the tire off the field and then the tire in the furrow to line up, and then just use the coordinate degrees to try to keep a straight line. I tend to do that more than use the VCA lines. Hopefully this is the last time I've done this a lot. It was the weekend, so I figured I would try to fix the mic filters. Because I know it was crap. But then the more I fixed it, the harder some sounds were. So then I'd have to look up a way of fixing like my sibilants. It's never going to be perfect because my S's and T's and CH's are very harsh. And I know this. But the clearer I made the mic, the more that became a problem. So I had a few times I did this field with that, and then I had it where I thought it was good, and I did everything. Had both fields, and I realized during that I must have messed with the scene because I went to start to put the video together. Well, actually, the two videos together. This will probably be split into two videos for getting both fields done. But I started to put the first one together, and I did not have all of the screen. Because I had apparently pulled that a bit at some point. So hopefully the sound is still good. And the screen is actually all there. Well, I just have this one last tiny strip, and then this field will be all plowed. And it's light out. Not quite light enough to have no light though. But almost there. Another 20 minutes or so, and I won't even need lights on. So now that this field is done being plowed, I'm going to set this on a worker on field 16 to get part of that plowed. Now I kind of want the loam part of 16, which is most of the arm and then like the middle section of the body. The arm is probably not going to be done that greatly though. But I'm still going to start the worker on the arm. And well, I think I'll go across this myself. And then I'll have the worker do this tiny section of the arm while I get the Kubota and the disc harrow set up. Because the Kubota is powerful enough for that. You should be able to do the section I've outlined now. And I can get the Kubota set up. Okay, let's reset it because it's not on a 90 degree, and then get to a 90 degree. There we go. And I can get this smoothed out with also having to see how far I can get before I have to set the worker over there on a different section. That was not quite far enough. There we go. And I will just drive across this. Like, see, there was a bale that's off the field in a ditch. Most of them are out in the trees, but there's that one in a ditch, and then there's those two right off the path there. The path that does not lead to the road, remember. Okay, so if I go down to here-ish. Yeah, actually, let me get to right over here. And call the worker. I generally try not to do too much tabbing to vehicles, but I'm doing hired worker stuff. I had canon the fact I'm actually calling the worker, not teleporting. Just one more pass and the field will be all smoothed out and ready for seeding. And there we go. I have a nice smooth field 9. And I've already actually bought the seeder, but I have not picked it up. So I am going to get the truck and use my pressure washer so that I can actually see out the windshield. But I'm gonna take the truck and the low loader over here and head down to the store to pick up the seeder and seeds. Nope, that way. So I'll see you when I get back up here. Okay, I have my truck back. I did download some mods for seeders because I didn't like that there was really nothing in between in the under 200 horsepower category. I don't need to put this away. I'm going to need it for field 16. But it was either you go with 3 meters or you go with 12 meters. There was not much in between, so got I got a few mods, but this is the one I decided on. It's a 4 meter, and I can't remember. I think it's 110 horsepower requirement. It's definitely low enough that the Kubota will have no problem with that. Let me just get some seed in there. And of course it chose one of the bottom ones, but that's okay. And the disc harrow is also 4 meters, so I should be able to just use the same line setup to get some wheat in the fields. It even kind of matches both of my tractors. Like, you know, slightly different colors, but the green and orange, because it's an Amazon. And the workers seems, well, yay, save. But I did check on the worker and he seemed to be doing all right. Oh, it's going to be one of those saves, huh? It did shrink the window, so there we go. It's back to really saving. Usually if it shrinks the window, it's not actually uh, broken. But it seems to be doing all right, I guess. Well, it has started to rain, but it's supposed to be a quick shower, so I think we'll be all right. And as you can see, the worker made it across and is now working down on the other side. I will probably get done with this field and then I'll put them on a different path though. And there we go. I'm gonna check the forecast because I am pretty sure, yeah, it should be over relatively soon. I'm going to go put the cedar down. I'll go refill the little bit of seeds. It used almost 200 seeds. And I'm gonna get the disc harrow. And then drive down to where the worker is so I can set him up doing this section. Grab these two little sections because they're on the way anyway. I guess 3 little sections. There we go. I'm going to do this. That way I can get the arm cultivated with the disc harrow. And I can set the worker starting right over here. And then I can get the arm cultivated. And then I can go where the plow is going right now. And I should be able to get all of that done. And then I'll start seeding the area up here, but the worker will be put on the section in between the two parts that will be plowed at that point. Let's see, I don't think that I really can do in like that's not gonna work. And That's really not going to work either. So I'm gonna set up a different angle. So let's reset that. Then maybe 225. It's starting to rain harder, but it should be almost done. I hope it's almost done. I'm also hoping that the worker won't get confused because all they look for is the ground paint type. So I don't think it will be a problem. I don't think he's even looking at the arm when he's using it to turn. But if he is, that might be a problem because this is right now it's plowed. So if he's seeing it, he's seeing plowed, so he doesn't need to plow it. But if he starts seeing not plowed, then he will want to plow it. And I really hope the rain stops soon because it's starting to get to the point where it might not really be realistic to keep going. Okay, let's see. I think he's still gonna turn, right? It looks like he's still gonna turn. So at least that grass area is wide enough that he stops looking at the ground. Into that area, I'm not gonna worry about cleaning up. I really only did it on the other areas because I had to either correct the worker anyway or just move them so it wasn't out of the way. It does make me scared every time though. But I think we're past the point where I have to worry that he's going to do that. Okay, and I think I'll leave that little bit as a buffer. And then that bit as well. Let me reset and put them back on a 90 degree. Well, 270 in this case, but I'll be back soon with a lot more to do.